continue, would ask Committee Member Carl Myers to come forward to induct athlete Art Hot Dog McLean. Lots of nicknames on that list, isn't there?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And a lot of these fellas that were inducting these other guys stole a lot of my thunder there about championships and so on. But I want to talk about a great guy, and he maybe is not as well known, you see, as the other guys. Art McLean, and he's better known as Hot Dog. And I'll tell you in a minute. After 70 years, I finally found out how he got the name Hot Dog. Okay. He was born in WAterford, 1937, to Lockie and Catherine McLean, and he attended Mount Carmel School from grades primary to 11, where he participated in all the sports, but he really loved rugby besides the baseball. And there's a picture over on the wall there where we played together in 1953 and won the Cape Breton Rugby Championship, and we lost out to Pictou Academy and the Nova Scotia champions. See, we had a good small team, but they had a good big team, okay? And I remember in that game playing, and I think I spent half the game on our 25-yard line tackling, and that wasn't a very good thing to be doing. As a child, Art consistently sought out every neighborhood game. And I can sit here and talk about Lowell went through the early days, and when we grew up, and that's a long time ago, because most of these guys, I'm not going to tell you what our age are, you can figure that out for yourself, but we had neighborhoods, there wasn't any organized baseball in the younger, and in the neighborhoods, you got a job playing, especially if you were crazy enough to catch, without any mask on, without any gear on, okay? And I even had a go at that myself and was lucky that I didn't get killed. But Hot Dog, he was built strong, and he loved catching, he loved playing. And he caught a lot of these games with no gear at all. And see, what happens is you're playing a neighborhood league, and I know it took me 2 years, I think, to get a hit. Because I might be 12 years old, and you're playing against guys that are 15, 16, 17, and there weren't good baseballs. There were those old tape ones, okay? And the bats, that's another thing. The bats weren't very good, and when we used to go, we'd have to go to Sydney, Mike Roberts and I, and Bucky sometimes, and we had to buy 3 bats. And we had to get, Mike could get the nice one, along with the nice lean handle. I'd get one that was average, and we had to get one for Stan Exel, eh? And it had to be heavy, and we couldn't find one. And Kenny Timmons was the manager, and he said, "Oh, well, we're going to have to soak that one in the tub of water." That's all. Okay? But that's the way it went that way. So Hot Dog was in command to play in these neighborhood leagues to be a catcher, okay? And that's what he did. And he started playing, in 1953, okay? That's in his formative years, his childhood. But before that, when he finished high school, he went through high school, and after he finished high school, he started working in the mine, and he got a flashy, nice Ford Fairlane convertible, I guess. And the story goes that he was driving up and down town all day in this brand new car, you see? And all the girls were trying to get into the car and everything. And that's before he met his wonderful wife, you see. And the story goes, and a bunch of fellas, "Who's that Hot Dog driving that car up and down the town?" You see? So that stuck, and as everybody knows in town, when you got a nickname, it stuck. And it was a kind nickname, it wasn't a derogatory one. So that stayed, and I didn't know how he got that name until 2 weeks ago. Okay, and I got that from Malky Nemus, he's married to Hot Dog's wife's sister, okay? So in these times, he went to work in the coal mines after finishing school, and he was there for about 12 years, and that's how he acquired his nickname, okay? And then he married his wonderful wife Eileen, and his baseball took off in his teens. And in 1953 and 54, he played on 2 back-to-back provincial midget teams. And he was the main guy that took Spiky McKinnon along, you see, because he caught Spiky. And he and Spiky played together from then until 1960. And after this, those 2 years, he also won 2 junior titles in 56 and 57. Same with Spiky, was one of the main guys that was catching. And there's an article in the paper there about him. You see, a lot of people don't realize that with a good hitter, besides a good catcher, he was tough as nails and strong as an ox. What a good hitter he was, eh? And there was newspaper articles there talking about, pounding the RBIs for his team year after year in the 60s and so on. And he was literally half of the battery there of most of the pitchers, talking about Stan and Spiky and Timmy Nearing and Dale Kearney. And he was half the battery. Now, there were other great catchers in the town as well. Bucky Walsack, Sonny Lever, Joe Rizzo. Even my brother Jerry was a good catcher. But for other reasons, those tools of ignorance didn't suit them too well, okay? So Art stayed with it, and he became a real fine catcher. And he caught all those years, every game that we played. He caught every one. And we'll get to it in a minute there about, they talk about winning the Nova Scotia Championship in 59, eh? Art, in the 59 championships, he got hurt in the pit. His right hand got hurt, and 3 of his fingers were beat up. And the doctor, this is a true story, I was there playing. The doctor, before each game in that series with Canning for the Nova Scotia Championship, used to give him a shot in the hand and half froze his hand. And in that series, he caught 37 innings, and not one man stole second base in that whole series. That's how tough he was. Yeah. And finally, in the champion series, they all talked about our champion series in 59. He caught Dale for a no-hitter for 9 innings. And it's not mentioned either that in the 14th inning, there was a long fly ball hit out to Sonny Lever in left field. Man on third base, 1 out. And he caught the ball and threw a strike to Hot Dog, who blocked the plate. And this guy ran over him. Hot Dog still tagged him out. And we went on, and the next half of that inning, and we won the championship, eh? But all I can say about Hot Dog is that you never saw him, okay, when he wasn't laughing. That's the kind of guy he was. He was a gregarious, outgoing guy, and when you put him on the field, it was a different story. Eh? After he left in 1961, he played 1961 with WAterford. And then that brand new car that he bought, you see, he went with his wife and 2 children, and he went to Ontario, and he worked 26 years in the factories there, eh? And it was unbelievable what he did. He went back and studied and got a certificate to help disadvantaged kids. And he went and worked in the school system after he retired, okay, And then he got Parkinson's after that. And of course, he died 2 years ago, 2016. And all I can say about the guy was that he was a great guy, great family man, and a great athlete. Thank you. So I want to invite his two daughters up to get the Pat, Aid and Patty.
Good job, buddy. Good job. Excellent. Want to say something?
My dad left us just over a year ago, and since my sister and I arrived in Cape Breton from Ontario just a few days ago, there's been signs everywhere that he's with us. And family was one of the most important things to my dad, and coming back home to receive this honor has given us the opportunity to reunite with family we have not seen in a long, long time. So Dad, I know you're smiling down tonight, and you're very proud, and we're very proud to receive this honor on his behalf in his beloved New Waterford.
Well done.
And I just want to say, even though he was in Ontario, his heart was always here in New Waterford. He talked of it very fondly. He passed down the baseball to my sister and I. We played softball for many years, and his grandchildren played baseball, and he'd watch in the stands so proudly. So he loved the sport. He just loved it through and through. And I just want to thank the committee, Carl Marsh and maclean, my uncle, for all the great tributes and things that you said. And I also would like, for any of the guys that knew my dad that are here, that were on the team, could you please come up and shake our hand? We'd love to meet you and get a picture. That would be great. And thank you. Thank you very much.